Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang's eyes turned cold. I'm not borrowing from you. I'm asking you if you have spotted any good prey recently. We too have ordered our subordinates to search for prey, Vice President Limo explained, but you are aware, Association leader, that the true gods of void space within Huyang City are all very cautious. They do not reveal their treasures, making it difficult to select suitable prey. In the past era, I slaughtered 122 true gods of void space, gaining a total of 1,800 cosmic sand. I keep 1/10, and you take 9/10. I have already given it to you. In the last era, I slaughtered 132 prey, gaining a total of 1,200 cosmic sand, and I've also given you your share, Vice Chairman Mu Lin said. We have all sworn on the cause and effect contract, we would not lie about these things. Mu Yang said coldly, what I want are good prey. Not these inferior ones. Both vice presidents shook their heads. We can't find any good prey, the city owner's mansion has already set the minimum criteria, said Vice President Limo. The number of true gods of void space within the city that can be killed is very limited, and they are extremely cautious. Even if they obtain treasures, they would not reveal them publicly. Vice Chairman Mu Lin expressed his concern, Association leader, you have earned enough since establishing the Blood Python Association. You weren't as anxious before, why have you been increasingly anxious lately? He and the association leader were from the same tribe, and had drifted together to Huyang City, so he could say many things that Vice President Limo dared not say. How are the residence fees we collected? The Blood Python Association leader pressed. Has there been any increase? The massive number of true gods in the city mostly hunt exotic beasts for a living. Every time they venture out and make a hefty profit, they return to live stably within the city. Besides the occasional shopping, they mostly seclude themselves and do not come out. We simply cannot collect residence fees, Vice President Limo said, shaking his head. Is there any overall growth? Mu Yang pressed further. No, Limo shook his head, it has probably even declined this era. A bunch of useless trash. Mu Yang was furious, the Blood Python Association maintains so many subordinates to find suitable prey within the city and to collect residence fees. Not finding prey, and even experiencing a decline in residence fees this era. What use do these incompetents serve? Expel those incapable from the Blood Python Association. Maintaining a subordinate also bears a significant cost. Subordinates must also pay the city owner's mansion a residence fee of 1 primal chaos crystal per era, in addition to needing cultivation resources. Thus, the average cost of maintaining a true god level subordinate each era is about 3 primal chaos crystals. The stronger the subordinate, the higher the maintenance cost. A vast dark force has high operational costs. After all, collecting residence fees from a multitude of residents, you can't expect the eternal true gods to do it, can you? Finding fat sheep is no easy task. The city owner's mansion has rules. As long as those true gods live within a cave mansion, the city owner's mansion guarantees their absolute safety. In many places within Huyang City, filled with true gods, if we make a move, we will be discovered by other true gods. Once there is concrete evidence, the city owner's mansion must arrest the culprit, said Mu Lin, shaking his head. The city owner's mansion ensures these residents' safety in various ways, making it hard for us to collect residence fees. The city owner's mansion collects residence fees as an official collection, every true god must pay. Once paid, they receive various protections, and this is why many true gods aspire to live in a big city. Dark forces also collect residence fees, but the vast majority of residents try all means to avoid it. Like usually hiding in cave mansions. They travel to places with many true gods, or even groups of true gods act collectively. The Blood Python Association is being supported by me, you too think of some solutions. Association leader Mu Yang's eyes were even more fierce. How do you find good prey? How do you collect more residence fees? We'll think of something, the two vice presidents verbally agreed, But since the Blood Python Association has been operating for so long, all usable methods had already been employed. Association leader Mu Yang suddenly looked outside. Mo Meng is here, you two go out first. All right, Lai Mo and Mu Lin, the two vice presidents, breathed a sigh of relief and promptly left. Soon, a middle-aged man with 4 purple curved horns, Mo Meng, walked in. Here to collect again. Association leader Mu Yang sighed. This era's 50,000 cosmic sand, it's time you gave them to me. Mo Meng looked at him. Surely you can't fail to pay, after losing 20,000 cosmic sand to Luo He. Association leader Mu Yang shook his head. Merely 50,000 cosmic sand, of course, I can afford it. But Mo Meng, doesn't the Blood Python Association's minimal territory require way too many cosmic sand payments every era? Perhaps it could be less. No way, Mo Meng looked at him and lightly chuckled. Unless you dissolve the Blood Python Association and give up the territory. The rules of Huyang City are clear. Whichever dark force controls the territory must pay the cosmic sand. This is the bottom line of the 5 great families. Association leader Mu Yang was quite frustrated. While competing with other dark forces for territory previously, he also did not want to pay fees to the 5 great families and suffered their punishment. He suffered a great loss that time and eventually had to step back, which only then did the 5 great families tolerate him. In that case, can the Blood Python Association have a higher quota for slaughters each era? Association leader Mu Yang said, each era, the death rate within the city cannot exceed 1,000th, but this rate is too low. True gods and true gods of void space in the city naturally have conflicts across a long era, with a normal death rate approaching 1,000th already, leaving us with too few quotas to kill. No more than 1,000th. Mo Meng calmly said, in the recent era, your Blood Python Association should have assassinated over 1 million true gods within the city, and perhaps hundreds of true gods of void space. That's enough. The true gods of Huyang City are countless, and what we've killed is far from the normal death rate. Mu Yang shook his head, handing over a jade vial to Mo Meng, 50,000 cosmic sand, not one less. Mo Meng took it, and his expression eased somewhat, then said, I remind you, recently, over several eras, your Blood Python has done some over-the-line things. What thing? I'm not aware of it, said Mu Yang in surprise. Don't pin everything on me. Mo Meng gave him a look, then turned and left without saying more. Mu Yang watched him leave. The 5 great families of the city owner's mansion are the most ruthless. President Mu Yang's eyes were cold, but he was well aware that once the bottom line was crossed, the 5 great families would spare no cost to completely crush the Blood Python Association. Every era, all members of the Blood Python Association need a large amount of cosmic sand, and so do the 5 great families. That Luo He even took away 20,000 units of cosmic sand, lamented President Mu Yang, feeling quite impoverished. This era alone hasn't brought in much profit. With a thought from Mu Yang, the formation in the hall activated, completely isolating it from the outside world. In front of him, the void condensed into a mirror, within which was the figure of a person wearing a white robe and a red mask. Divine Monarch Shui Yun. President Mu Yang became somewhat more humble. The most terrifying 2 powers in Huyang City were, naturally, the ruling power of the 5 great families of the city owner's mansion and the forces of the Shi Kingdom. Lurking among the Shi Kingdom's forces was a supremely terrifying existence known as Shui Yun. The conflict between the Shi Kingdom's forces and the 5 great families of the city owner's mansion was the most intense, not just minor skirmishes against dark forces. President Mu Yang, why have you suddenly contacted me? Shui Yun's voice was calm, seemingly without any fluctuation. The latter part of the primordial iron blood sand technique requires 1 million units of cosmic sand, which I really cannot gather, President Mu Yang said. Could I perhaps have some cosmic sand on credit first? I can pay half up front. Sir, the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Shui Yun chuckled lightly, relying on the bloodline cultivation method, refining to the primal chaos realm is your limit, whereas the primordial iron blood sand technique is a perfection level bloodline cultivation method for the primal chaos realm and especially suits you. Such a cultivation method is a rare opportunity for you. If it weren't for your great contributions, we would not have given you this purchasing opportunity. I know, but 1 million units of cosmic sand is just too hard to gather, said President Moyu. You have this purchasing opportunity because you work for our kingdom. You wouldn't be able to buy it at all in the Flame Wind Pavilion, Shuiyun stated. President Moyu, of course, understood. The kingdom was generous enough to offer something like the primordial iron blood sand technique, a top-tier bloodline cultivation method, which naturally drove Moyu mad with desire. Ordinary cultivation methods would leave him hopeless to ever reach the primal chaos realm. But such perfect bloodline cultivation methods at least gave him a glimmer of hope to reach the primal chaos realm. You're slowly earning through the Blood Python Association, which naturally means slower profits, Shuiyun said softly. If you want to earn more, you'll have to take some risks. Think about it yourself. Then the connection was cut off. President Moyu pondered. He had dealings with all sides in Huyang City, entangled quite deeply with both the city owner's mansion and the kingdom's forces. Normal business within Huyang City, all under the infiltration of the city owner's mansion, can't make too much. It requires time to slowly accumulate. To earn a significant sum, some risk must be taken. President Muyang's eyes grew colder. Once I get the primordial iron blood sand technique, I'll leave Huyang City immediately. Let the city owner's mansion and the kingdom's forces fight as fiercely as they will, I'll stay out of it. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Primal Chaos Armor's Cave Mansion number 913. Atop a high mountain, Luo Feng sat on a large rock, drinking alone. In reality, he was operating the Great Destruction Heart Refining Technique, and his spiritual will was continuously being destroyed and worn down, which made each condensation of his spiritual will more refined. This was normal adaptation to survival. Under such strong destruction and wear, each condensation naturally had to resist this kind of destruction and wear. Short-term improvements were not as effective as the 7 emotions of heart refining technique, but the advantage of the Great Destruction Heart Refining Technique was that it could be carried out long-term, and over time, the results were good. With Shang Qinyan's guidance, I should be able to fully understand the theory of the second layer of the Primal Chaos Great Strength Diagram soon. Luo Feng, with his deep understanding of the laws, naturally comprehended quickly. But even if I fully understand it, what can I do? Poor. I simply cannot afford the materials required for the second body refinement. Luo Feng also felt the headache. The first body refinement, merely foundational, already consumed materials worth 100,000 units of cosmic sand. According to estimates, the second body refinement will require many times more materials. The third body refinement, again, will increase several-fold. Where can I gather so much cosmic sand? Luo Feng was quite vexed. With his current strength, to significantly enhance his power, he either needed to break through the great realm of peak will of primal chaos realm, or undergo the second body refinement of perfect divine body. His godly body was too massive, and his divine power incredibly pure, so each body refinement offered significant growth. Advancing the will can't be rushed. It requires daily accumulation and gradually honing oneself. Luo Feng understood this. As for the materials for the second body refinement, I need to think of a solution. Alas, I'm just too poor. Thinking this, Luo Feng triggered a thought and began scouting for bounty missions using the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall's transmission order. Thank you to the 2 Alliance hierarchs who tipped Hidden Night Behind the Moon and the Sea in Your Eyes. The bounty missions of the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall also are categorized into protection, hiring, assassination, and others, among which the assassination missions undoubtedly offer the highest bounties. Look at the ones with high bounties, Luo Feng said as he drank and studied the assassination missions. The highest bounty mission, to kill the supreme commander of the Huyang Legion Mo Li Xiao, with a bounty of 1.2 million cosmic sand. Those who can offer 1.2 million cosmic sand as a bounty and are not afraid of the city owner's mansion are very likely from the kingdom, Luo Feng speculated. According to the rules of the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall, for assassination missions, the bounty must be paid in advance to the Flame Wind Pavilion. If the mission is not completed, the bounty remains with the Flame Wind Pavilion. Without sufficient backing, no one would be willing to leave such a massive fortune there for long. The second highest bounty mission, to kill the leader of the Shi Kingdom's forces within Huyang City, Shuiyun, with a bounty of 1 million cosmic sand. The third highest bounty mission, to kill the leader of the Zhu clan, Zhu Hu, with a bounty of 530,000 cosmic sand. The fourth highest bounty mission, to kill the puppet shadow master Chun Yui, with a bounty of 180,000 cosmic sand. The seventh highest bounty mission, to kill the Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang, with a bounty of 120,000 cosmic sand. Luo Feng noticed the familiar bounty for the Blood Python leader, which ranked 7th. The enemies of the Blood Python leader surely were generous. The top 3 bounties are quite high, and then there is a notable drop afterward, Luo Feng noted. Having received detailed intelligence about Huyang City from Shong Qianyang, he was also familiar with the information on these mighty figures listed in the bounty missions. Mo Li Xiao, the strongest amongst the 5 great families of the city owner's mansion, and the supreme commander of the Huyang Legion. His individual strength is extremely formidable, and the royal capital of Yu Kingdom sent him to command a large city, equipped him with the best Legion mechanical stream secret treasures, and his royal guard army is incomparably elite. Already powerful individually, and commanding a legion, Mo Li Xiao is extremely fearsome. Shuiyun, the leader of the Shi Kingdom's forces within Huyang City. He has long been lurking in Huyang City, causing significant losses to the 5 great families of the city owner's mansion, who have always been unable to deal with him. Both individuals are very strong, with extraordinary backgrounds. They have also clashed more than once. Zhu clan's Zhu Hu, ranked 3rd. Luo Feng was curious. The Zhu clan is a native family in Huyang City, honestly doing business, supposedly without many enemies. How come Zhu Hu's bounty is even higher than those of the Dark Forces leaders? Most crucially, with a long-term bounty of 530,000 cosmic sand, the Zhu clan remains stable. From these assassination missions, Luo Feng could see that within Huyang City, Mo Li Xiao, Shuiyun, and Zhu Hu were not to be trifled with. Of course, people like the Flame Wind Pavilion's master, like me, and those few recluses living in Huyang City, we have no bounties, Luo Feng said with a smile. Having no bounty doesn't mean being weak. Which of these assassination missions should I choose? Luo Feng pondered. Hiring and protection missions require much time and energy for less reward. Naturally, he would choose an assassination mission. Leaders of dark forces who commit all kinds of evil can be considered as options, Luo Feng thought. He always prepared before he acted and only killed those who deserved it. Since leaders of dark forces did countless evils, they naturally made the list of options. The bounty for the Blood Python leader is a bit low, Luo Feng shook his head slightly. 3 dark forces leaders had bounties higher than the Blood Python leader, surely warranting further research. The first time taking a bounty mission must be a success. Preparations had to be made. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng sat on a large stone on a high mountain, studying potential targets, when suddenly a figure flew nearby. Master, Morosa said, Moyu who has come to visit. Moyu who? Luo Feng was surprised. The first true god of void space he met upon arriving at the land of origin had been Moyu Hu. While you were secluded for over a decade, Moyu Hu also came to visit, Morosa said. Knowing the master was in seclusion, he did not disturb you further. This is his second visit. Luo Feng smiled, the second time. Let him come in first. All right, Morosa nodded, but couldn't help adding, Master, should we perhaps hire a few servants? Hire servants? We're focused on cultivation in the cave mansion, occasionally drinking and eating some fruit which we can prepare in advance. What do we need servants for? Luo Feng chuckled, and when we're out, aren't you my servant? Morosa spoke softly, Master, your fame in Huyang City is growing, and more people are visiting you. I have to guard the door and also serve as a servant. Luo Feng laughed. Whenever guests visited, the sole servant Morosa needed to prepare fine wines and food, and be on hand to serve. Although Morosa was disguising his strength, he was, after all, an eternal true god level sector beast, and he was continuously growing stronger, perhaps even faster than Luo Feng himself, making it really unfitting for him to perform menial tasks. It's my fault, Luo Feng smiled. Don't worry, I'll hire some servants in the next few days. I'm not in that much of a hurry. Morosa grinned and flew towards the entrance of the cave mansion to bring Moyu in. Moyu appeared somewhat restrained and nervous as he followed Morosa, flying up the high mountain. Greetings, Supreme, Moyu said respectfully. As a true god of void space, he ranked among the middle echelons in Huyang City. The latest hot news in the entire Huyang City was that a dark force, Blood Python Association, had been forced to bow down by an eternal true god named Luo He, and Moyu was well aware of this. Luo Feng sat leisurely, looking at Moyu. What brings you to me? The Supreme has said that I could ask for his help. Moyu was somewhat nervous, but he knew from his understanding of the Supreme Lord Luo He that he was an eternal true god with a good temper. Yes, I have promised, Luo Feng smiled. My promise is very valuable. Is this how you plan to use it up? Moyu flipped his hand, and a small grey hammer appeared in his hand. He held the hammer respectfully. This weapon is my greatest discovery in life. I found it exploring treasures outside the city, where I fortuitously discovered the body of an eternal true god. The most precious item was the weapon that belonged to the eternal true god. I am willing to offer this weapon to the Supreme, only wishing for a chance for my child to become an apprentice. Luo Feng looked surprised at the small hammer. This is indeed an eternal true god level weapon secret treasure. From my estimate, it values around 6,000 cosmic sands. You, a mere true god of void space, having such a discovery. And yet you dare to show it in front of me. Aren't you afraid I would kill you and take it? Such a treasure, I dare not sell to any power, because the slightest leak of information, and my entire family would be gone. Moyu looked at Luo Feng. I haven't met many eternal true gods, but the only one I trust is the Supreme. Last time he guided the way, he wasn't killed. Wasn't robbed. And even got a chance to help. Moyu then decided to bet on Luo Feng's nature. Ha ha, Luo Feng beckoned with his hand, picking up the small hammer. I do not take disciples lightly. Eternal true gods do not take disciples lightly either. They usually require trials, Moyu said. I only hope the Supreme can give a chance for a trial. Luo Feng said, you should know that I have conflicts with the Blood Python Association. Yes, Moyu nodded. The news has spread throughout Huyang City. From this conflict, Moyu could see how powerful the Supreme was. If his child could apprentice under the Supreme, that truly would be a grand opportunity. Luo Feng said, in the future, I will have conflicts with other dark forces. The eternal true gods who hold grudges against me are likely not few. If your child follows me, he might get involved. Moyu was secretly alarmed. Already having conflicts with the Blood Python Association, and now with other dark forces. Since following the Supreme, naturally both fortune and misfortune must be born, Moyu replied decisively, as he very clearly understood that he dared only offer the small hammer to Luo Feng. How many children do you have? Luo Feng asked. 3 children, the Supreme can choose any one of them. Moyu immediately offered a book respectfully. This is the detailed information about all 3 of my children. Luo Feng beckoned it over. You are indeed well prepared, but let me be clear in advance. I now only seek one servant. He needs to undergo a trial, and if he fails the trial, he cannot become my disciple. Moreover, the trial will be very long. Having the opportunity to be a servant for the Supreme is great fortune for my child, Moyu promptly said. Good, Luo Feng nodded. Bring your 3 children here, and I will choose one to be my servant. Moyu showed joy. I will bring them right away. He respectfully took his leave and quickly departed. Master, Morosa looked at the small hammer Luo Feng was fiddling with in his hands, unbelievingly said, you recruit a servant, and also just earned a weapon secret treasure valued at 6,000 cosmic sands. Luo Feng laughed. I said I'd recruit a servant within 2 days. Now I have. Wasn't that fast? Fast. Morosa praised, and Master, you truly know how to earn 6,000 cosmic sands, to become my servant. It's not a loss, Luo Feng laughed. I am also Master's servant. To be on the same level as me, of course he doesn't lose. Morosa was delighted, as many of the more mundane tasks could now be handed to Moyu's child. Morosa said, Master, in the future I can help you teach the child. No need for you to bother. That way, he would have even more reason to order the child around. Saw the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Good, if I take him as a disciple, then you will be his second master, Luo Feng said, but I won't accept a disciple easily. If he doesn't meet the minimum requirements, he can just be a servant for life. Morosa nodded, let me and master teach together, the threshold for acceptance ought to be higher. Moyu who returned home, his house was a modestly located small cave mansion that he had bought for 1,000 primal chaos crystals. It was considered average among the residences of true gods of void space. Father. The three young true gods were waiting, aware that their father was going to visit the eternal true god Luo He. Seeing their father return, they were somewhat excited. Moyu who smiled at his three children. In the land of origin, love is a luxury. After all, most true gods live and cultivate under harsh conditions, let alone find a wife and have children. Moyu who was fortunate, he had met his true love and together they had raised 3 children. Since his wife's death, Moyu whose greatest concern had been his 3 children, whose lives he valued more than his own. Supreme Lord Luo, he has agreed to give an opportunity. He will choose one of you 3 to be a servant, Moyu who said, being a servant, undergoing many trials, only then might one eventually become a disciple of Supreme Lord Luo He. If you can't pass the trials, you won't become a disciple of the eternal true God. We understand. It's a rare opportunity, and we will strive for it. The 3 brothers grew up in Huyang City, and were well aware of the value of this opportunity. Moyu who nodded, let's leave right now. This video will end here.